Welcome back to Court Vision with So Pretty Tony. Guys, you can see where we are and what we're talking about. And as we come on in, we are going to go ahead into my new segment that I have here on this channel. And on this channel, we have what we call, and we're going to make it super simple, Tony's Court Vision. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. What's going on, chat? What's good? I see you, ADP. I see you, Tulip Play. Hey, Merry Christmas to you all. I know I saw you all briefly on Christmas Day. However, I'm coming back in, and as you have seen the title, we are coming in and we are talking about my girl Coco Gauff. Coco Gauff. I am doing well, Tulip. Thank you for asking. I appreciate you so much. Hey, I says we miss you. We miss you. I miss you too, man. You know how it is. You know how it is, guys. But this segment here is a really good segment. I think I shared it about 2 weeks ago, and I'm coming back to this journey because I want to speak highly upon some of our professional players right now, more so our African American players. How you doing, June Brown? I appreciate you coming to the building. I appreciate you. Good evening, good evening, good evening. But we are going to talk about Coco Golf. I started the live a minute ago, but it kind of froze on me. So here we are. We're starting it all over again. But nevertheless, here we are. However, when we are talking about Coco Golf, we are simply talking about some of the things that Coco Gauff has had to go through, some of the challenges she's faced, and so on and so forth. But we want to really get in here and speak on her truth and what she's going through at this time. And what she's simply going through at this time is a battle of PR, publicity, and all those things that are of a sort right now. Um, so, again, we are going into and we are going to talk about none other than our girl, Coco Gauff. And in this segment tonight, we're going to kind of try to break down the tension that has been shared between her and Slavenka and so much more. Let's talk about what is going on behind the scenes. So we saw that interaction during the French Open, right? We know what is happening. We've seen those different type of languages that have gone around throughout our presence and fooling with and dealing with certain situations and certain individuals. So let's take that down real quick so you guys can see me a lot clearer. And I'm gonna leave that space there because I have Coco. I'm gonna pull her up, and I want you all to just kind of hear how she feels and some of the things that she's gone through, and the importance of why this takes us to a stage of mental health issues. Do we want that to be an issue? No, but it is what it is, and it's where we are. And we wish that we didn't have to attend to this. And I'm going to tell you, mental health is such a huge thing. And I'm going to pull myself down here just because I want you all to see me very clearly when I'm saying this. Mental health is huge. It's something that we all go through. It's a battle within um, society right now, and a lot of things that we're having to cope with, and the mechanisms of things that we're dealing with in life. Um, and although our athletes put on such a good faith, right? They put on such a good face to understand. This is a very sensitive mic. I'm sorry, I got a new one, guys. Um, but it's one of those things where they have to put on the smile and they have to cheese and they have to show us just how great everything is, right? Because we want the young athletes of the world to see everything for what it's the greatness and the grand of the sport and where we are. Just like we sit here and we talk about Angel and all the things that she have to go through. We have to remember there's players in other sports that are going through some of the same thing, i.e., Coco Gauff, and that's why I wanted to bring her up today because I've seen quite a few videos that have come out. Some of the other greats have spoken upon this issue as well, and some of the things that Coco is having to tend and battle with. And it's not one of those things that we want to take lightly. How you doing, big girl? Thank you for coming to the building. I see you. I appreciate you coming on in and the support that you've brought forward to me and my channel, and of course me being on Broke Claude and Keisha's platform along with KSAP and being a part of the whole ordeal. Definitely my girl ADP and also Miss D. So I want you to know from me how grateful we are that you guys follow us and that you support us every step of the way and the things that we choose to bring forward to you on this panel. What's going on, Ms. D? I just spoke you up, and there you go. There you are. Welcome, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming in. But again, on Coco Gauff and speaking just straight facts of everything that she's going through in this moment, and mental health being one of those pieces. Hey, how you doing? I appreciate you coming on in the building, Biggie. What are you talking about? Big Ham. I see you. 5715. What's up? What's good? What's good? What's good? Everybody come on in the building. We're giving people time to come on in, so we can go ahead and I can give my thoughts on what's happening with Coco Gauff at this present moment. And she's so young, guys. Her being young the way she is, and along with Angel, and some of the things that they're just having to tend with and battling throughout their professional career. And I just want you all to hear some of the things that she chooses to no longer stay silent about. And before I really get into my thoughts of this, I'm actually going to pull her up and let you listen to her a bit. If you haven't heard, now you'll get to hear her a little bit. Bored, happy tulip. I see. At tulip. Bored, happy Tony came on. Hey, I'm glad I came on too, y'all. I actually was gonna come on yesterday, but I got a little busy with GG duties. And hanging out with the grandbabies now, not the grandbaby, but the grandbabies. And they're so adorable. They're well handsome, adorable is girls. So let's make sure we get that straight, guys. But let's pull her up so you guys can see. Uh, let's put her here so we can kind of have. Let's go ahead and play her. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Here we are. Oh, that is Jasmine Crockett. Okay, here we go. Let's play.
And something that came out of nowhere. It's not about one match or one argument or one emotional moment. It's a buildup of things I've kept inside for too long. And right now, I don't care about being politically correct or sounding soft. I'm going to say what's real for me, because the things that happened between me and Sabalenka, they crossed a line. And once someone crosses that line, you can't just pretend everything is fine. I'm not here to start drama. I'm not here to insult her, but I'm here to tell the truth as I lived it. And if the truth sounds harsh, then that's because the situation was harsh. People think rivalries in tennis are always respectful and friendly behind the scenes. They look at photos of us smiling at the net and assume everything is normal. But tennis is not always a friendly sport. Sometimes things happen behind closed doors that fans never hear about. And this is one of those times. Let me explain where all of this started. It wasn't during a match. It wasn't during a press conference. It wasn't even during a tense moment on court. It started during a tournament meeting last season, a meeting most fans don't even know players attend. It's not a big room with cameras. It's a small space, usually with only a handful of top players and a few officials that day. Both of us were there.
I lost
All right, let's
$50,000 because I didn't buy a domain name.
Well, first of all, we are going to pull that down because we're not advertising anybody. But while that commercial is going through, um, these are moments, and I love when athletes come and share because it's hard to depict what's going on behind the scenes when they're always smiling and they do things with such grace, right? Um, and it's always important to see that they are human too, because folks tend to forget. They really truly tend to forget how everyone in this world is human and the things that they go through, and vice versa. So let's pull her back up here.
That meeting, the conversation was supposed to be about scheduling, player well-being, and improving fairness on tour. I spoke about something that had been affecting me for a while, the pattern of unfair match times for certain players, including me. I said it respectfully, calmly, and I only talked about my personal experience. I wasn't blaming anyone specific, but Sabalenka responded in a way that completely caught me off guard. She cut me off mid-sentence and said something like, "You're young. You don't understand how this works. Everyone deals with it. Stop acting like you're being targeted." She didn't say it jokingly. She said it in a tone that felt dismissive and condescending. Everyone in the room felt the tension. Officials tried to smooth it over, but she kept going. She said, "I needed to grow thicker skin and stop complaining." I remember sitting there stunned because I never complained. I simply pointed out a scheduling issue that was affecting my performance, just like everyone else in that room. But the way she spoke to me, like I was some child who didn't belong there, that crossed the first line. And that was the first moment I felt a shift in our relationship. Before that, we weren't close, but there was respect after that meeting. Something broke. It felt intentional, it felt personal, but I kept it to myself. I told my team, but I didn't want to make anything public. I didn't want fans to blow it out of proportion. I didn't want drama with another player, but that wasn't the end. A few weeks later, at another tournament, something else happened, something that made everything 10 times worse. During a practice block, I was waiting for my scheduled court. When the court opened, I started walking toward it with my coach. Out of nowhere, Sabalenka walked right past me straight onto the court and started practicing like she owned it. No requests, no check, no communication. She knew it was my slot. Everyone around her knew it too, but she acted like my schedule didn't matter, like I didn't matter. My coach tried to talk to her coach and they just shrugged, literally shrugged, as if saying, "Well, too bad. I wasn't going to argue on court." So I held back and waited. But inside, I felt humiliated, not angry, humiliated because it was disrespect for no reason. And the worst part, officials didn't do anything. Not one person stepped in, understood exactly why she acted the way she did because she knew nobody would stop her. But the moment everything finally
I wanted to just pause that. I want to pause that a second, right? Everybody act like it was just a normal thing. But let's take a moment and think about this. Had that been Coco doing that to Slavenka, do you think it would have just been one of those moments that they shrugged off? Do you think at some point would they have made this extreme ordeal and publicized absolutely everything that happened down from the moment that Coco walked on that court and just decided she was going to take over and demand the court and just start practicing? So you see the demise in which I'm talking about. Demise of lack thereof, i.e., that of this young woman and any young woman of color. And I am going to say that. If someone has a problem with me saying that, it's too bad. But I know my boy Goon would love this conversation right now. He ain't here. But one of the things that is trending is one of these things. And we have to understand that this isn't new, guys. It's not new. It happens all the time. It's just that everyone chooses to stay back and try to save face and be poised. And I love that she's done this, right? Because this has happened to so many other players before her and players that are in the realm with her right now as well. So I just think that this is just really, really crazy. Let's get back to it.
snapped wasn't on a practice court or in a meeting room. It was after a match. a match where tension was already high. I won't describe every detail because I don't want this to turn into a replay of every point, but what happened after the match was something I didn't expect from a top player.
Monday.com,
Okay,
the
let's
opposite of
pull
any
this
work
thing
platform
back
we try
down.
to
I gotta
test.
get faster with this. I gotta get faster with this moving stuff off the
Instead of a
screen. I'll get
handshake with respect, she made a comment
learned.
under her breath, not loud, but loud enough that I heard it clearly. And if someone says something directly to you, you don't need the whole world to hear it for it to matter. She said, "You got lucky. Don't act like you earned it." She said it with a straight face, no smile, no emotion except annoyance. That comment hit me harder than any shot I returned that day because I did earn it. I trained, I played well, I fought hard, and hearing her say that it wasn't competitiveness, it wasn't rivalry, it was disrespect, pure disrespect. That's when I realized I couldn't respect her anymore. Respect isn't automatic just because someone's a top player or a big name. Respect comes from how you treat people, especially when emotions are high. And that day, she showed me exactly who she was with her words. I didn't respond. I didn't clap back. I just walked away because arguing wouldn't fix anything. But I remember going back to the locker room and thinking, why do I have to pretend we're all friends? Why do I have to pretend everything's fine just because we're on tour together? And the answer is I don't. I'm tired of pretending tennis is full of perfect relationships. I'm tired of smiling next to people who show me no respect privately. And I'm tired of letting things slide because speaking out might upset someone. So yes, I said it. I can't respect her anymore because respect has to go both ways. And right now it doesn't. After that match, after hearing her say, "I got lucky," I kept replaying it in my mind. Even when I tried to shake it off, it stuck to me. You don't expect a top player, someone who understands pressure training, sacrifice, to completely dismiss your win like it meant nothing. And it wasn't the words alone, it was the intention behind them. It wasn't frustration, it was arrogance. And I walked away realizing she genuinely believed I didn't belong on the same level unless she decided I deserved to. But honestly, the part that made everything worse wasn't the comment itself. It was what happened after in the locker room. When I walked in, I could feel something off immediately. Not the usual tension after a big match. This was different. Her team was in the corner talking quietly, but not quietly enough. One of them said something like, "She plays emotional, it won't last." Another said, "She's overhyped." And the moment I realized they were talking about me, my whole face got hot. I wasn't angry, just disappointed because I didn't say anything about her publicly after tough losses. I didn't tear down her performances. I've always given credit where credit is due, but clearly that respect wasn't mutual. I kept my head down and went to my locker. I didn't want trouble. I didn't want a scene. But as I was taking off my wristbands, she walked in, that feeling when someone enters a room and the energy shifts. That's exactly what happened. Her presence wasn't neutral, it was heavy. Like she carried the whole conversation from outside into that room. She didn't look at me directly at first. She just tossed her things onto the bench loud enough to make a statement and started venting to her physio about how some players act like they're champions after one win. She didn't use my name, but she didn't need to. Everybody knew who she was talking about. I sat there thinking, why is this even happening? I beat her in a match. That's tennis. You win some, you lose some. But the way she reacted, it showed me that the match wasn't the problem. It was me, my existence, my progress, my rise. Something about it bothered her enough to make everything personal. Finally, she looked over at me and instead of letting the moment pass, she said, "I hope you enjoy the spotlight while it lasts." Not hateful, not yelling, just a cold statement, but sometimes calm words cut deeper than loud ones. And those words did. I didn't respond, not because I was scared, but because I didn't want her to think she had any control over my emotions. So I just said, "Good match," grabbed my bag and walked away. I refused to stay in a room where someone was trying to belittle me just to make themselves feel bigger.
I wanted to.
The next
I'm
day,
sorry, I keep
everything
hitting the
felt
wrong one.
weird.
I
At
wanted to
breakfast, some
pause this
players gave me
again. I want to pause that again. I know I'm gonna figure this out. However, tell me, chat, as an athlete, those that played any sport, when you enter a room, right, or you're already in a room and someone enters a room that just disrespect you, what is your reaction? What do you do? Do you do what Coco did, and you just kind of maneuver around. You will just kind of ignore the moment that they're even in the room, kind of not give them that face. Do you leave them be and you move forward? How do you as an individual react to that? And this is for you, chat. This is a question for you because I know me, right? If First of all, I don't know how I'm gonna allow you to just kind of get away with it, but sometimes we're in a moment and we don't want to do things in the public eye. Give or take. Okay. Oh, here we go. Let's go to the first. Miss Jacob. Yeah, they still are. Oh, you guys talking about something else. Um, I know for me, and this goes not only just if you're an athlete. This could be something at your job, something that you've kind of had to tend to even within your job, right? You are doing your job and you are, say, showing your employees, you're the boss, you're the manager, right? And you're showing your employees XYZ, but one of your employees decide that they're going to do something that's great to kind of show you up in front of everybody. Now, mind you, that employee may be extremely right, but instead of you as the employer giving the employee the credit where credit is due and praising them, you just kind of give them a whole soliloquy of how you don't like it. It was disrespectful. You crossed the line, type of situation, right? But in much respect, that employee just kind of gave you a spanking in front of your the rest of his peers because you were wrong in something that you said and it was not right. But however, he just spanked you in front of your employees. It's one of those things where you sit around and you say, "Oh my God, like where are we and what are we doing and why?" But sometimes we have to understand that we're not always right, and most of the time you're not always wrong. Sometimes things just kind of become a draw. But I know me in a situation like this, if I'm in a room, I just beat you, and we have to go into the same locker room, and you come in there with the noise, I don't know, man. It might be one of them situations where it just depends on the moment, because sometimes we will do things that save face, i.e., a situation that I was just in roughly at work, right? You have to kind of take one of those moments, and in the military, it's like that. A person can kind of come at you, and it's shocking. And you like your first initial in your mind, you're saying, I'm on, man, I'm on F this so and so up. How dare they talk to me that way? But you can't do it because you got everybody watching and you got everybody in your surroundings. And this is Coco's situation. Do I react because I'm in a stadium and I'm in an arena and I got all these people everywhere, right? And I know that this person said this and they're wrong. Do I combat that by telling them how wrong they were and exposing them right there on the spot, or do I walk away? And then when I walk away, they come into the locker room, and now we're more of a closed setting, but at the same time, there's other athletes within the locker room. Hmm. What's going on? She wins. Thank you for coming in the building. We appreciate you coming in, girlie. We appreciate you coming in. To Coco, uh, she presented herself well. Yeah, she definitely presented herself well. She's one of those individuals. I'm going to say this, and Angel can be a little rough around the edges sometimes, but when it really counts, Angel is very professional, right? She does not handle things in a way that publicized. Now, her sport is different because it's more than a 1v1. And I saw where early on, I think it was Tulip Play, said that sometimes when they're one on one, it's a little bit different, and so you can kind of have those moments where you can kind of have that little speaking engagement. So 1v1, there's no such thing as you've done something that isn't great because you beat me. No, I beat you fair and square is kind of what it is. But to diminish what she did was unprofound, and it's just is just truly ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous. Says I respect Coco and her right to explain everything, but also if this was Angel or Caitlin, they'd be called soft and a rat. Absolutely. They would be called soft and a rat because the sport is different. So the sport that they're in is more aggressive. It calls for a different type of passion. The 1v1 in tennis, you have the passion of the match and every set or every swing or a match point or love point or anything like that that you get that would put you and give you the edge over your opponent. But at the end of the day, is still where we talk about respect. Now, Angel and Caitlin, they're in a game where it's 5-on-5, and so emotions are high, and you're going against it's you against five sometimes, right? For Angel, it's her against five because all five defensive players are trying to pull her out of the air because she done went up for the rebound, right? So her situation is so much different, but at the same time the same because although Angel's one person, she gets the same 1v1 treatment that Coco just got, but from many, and it's crazy. It's extremely crazy. But for Coco to have the courage to speak out, and I want you guys to kind of hear the rest of this, although I know that this is a 20-minute long video. Um, I wanted you to hear it in its entirety because it speaks volumes to why she's where she is now and she wants to take this different. Audio is fine. Try to refresh. Oh, is I'm sorry. Is my audio is crazy? Is my audio crazy to the play? Let's see. Let's see. Is that better? Yeah, I'm gonna play at ADP, but yeah, I kind of want you guys to hear it. It says, "Trash talk is part of sports, as long as it is within the boundaries." Yep, I don't see the problem with it. Taking her time slot on the court, however, is unprofessional and wrong. Yes, it is. Trash talk is unwarranted, and that's why I'm glad Coco did not respond in a way that she did, as one would think she should. And let's get back to it.
Is not me and just uncomfortable, like they'd heard some twisted version of the story already. And that's when I realized just how quickly narrative spread on tour. You lose control of the story before you even know people are talking. Later that afternoon, one of the locker room staff members pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I don't know what happened, but you should be careful. She's upset and her team is making comments." I thanked them, but inside I felt sick, not because I was afraid of Sabalenka, never that, but because I knew where this was heading. Once a narrative starts forming around you, people who don't even know you start picking sides. And then came the moment that shifted everything permanently. 2 days later, both of us had practice courts scheduled one after the other. My session, first, hers after. When I arrived, her coach was standing outside the court, arms folded. He wasn't rude, but he definitely wasn't friendly either. And when my coach asked if everything was okay, he said, "Just make sure she finishes on time." It was unnecessary tension, completely unnecessary, but you could feel it in every interaction.
Okay, so let me explain. Nope, we'll need to explain nothing on this video. Let's see. Uh-oh. Yeah, I gotta pull it down. Yeah, y'all teaching me. Y'all teach me. Pull it down when the video comes up until it's done. Let's mute it and let it play through so I can kind of get it to click back. Okay, skip. Now we're back.
Walked onto the adjacent walkway. She wasn't scheduled yet. She wasn't warming up. She was just watching, not observing, watching. Like she needed to make sure I saw her there. Like she needed to create pressure where there didn't need to be any. I tried to ignore it. I focused on drills, but my coach noticed my shots tightening up. He asked me quietly, "You want to move courts?" And I said no, because I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of thinking she could intimidate me. When my time was up, I grabbed my bag and walked past her, and that's when she finally said the words that erased any remaining respect I had for her. She looked right at me and said, "You play well when things are easy. Let's see how long it lasts when pressure hits." And she said it with this smirk, this look that wasn't competitive, wasn't playful, wasn't even angry. It was dismissive, like she had already decided who I was as a player, as a person. I stopped for a moment, not to argue, but because the disrespect was unbelievable. I said, "Pressure makes everyone better. It's part of the game." She shrugged and said, "We'll see." That was it. No yelling, no screaming, just a small conversation that revealed a huge truth. She didn't respect me. And honestly, in that moment, something clicked. I realized I had spent months giving her grace, giving her understanding, giving her the benefit of the doubt, but none of it mattered because respect wasn't mutual. I walked away from that court feeling something I rarely feel: disappointment mixed with clarity. I finally understood that she saw me as a threat, not a colleague. She saw me as competition, not a peer. And she was willing to cross lines just to make sure I knew my place in her mind. That's when the sentence formed in my head for the first time: I can't respect her anymore. Not because she's a bad player, not because she's emotional, but because she chose disrespect every step of the way, even when she didn't have to. And I realized I wasn't obligated to stay silent about it. This wasn't a rivalry moment. This was a personal line crossed repeatedly. And that's why I'm speaking now. After that practice court moment where she looked at me and said, "Let's see how long it lasts," everything changed, not just between us, but around us. You could feel it in the air. It wasn't just rivalry. It wasn't competitiveness. It was tension, heavy, lingering tension that started affecting everything from locker room energy to how people around us behaved. And here's the thing: once players stop respecting each other off court, the effects spread everywhere. Coaches feel it, staff feel it, journalists pick up on it, even the WTA officials start walking differently around you. And that's exactly what happened next. The very next day, I had media obligations, nothing major, just a quick press session, but the questions were strange. 3 different reporters asked me variations of the same thing: "Is everything okay between you and Sabalenka?" Fans noticed tension. "Can you comment on it? Was there an issue during your match?" And that's when it hit me. Someone had already told them something. I didn't know who, I didn't know why, but the story had started circulating before I even opened my mouth, and not the real story, their story. I answered calmly, professionally. I said, "We're competitors, that's all." But inside, I was boiling because I knew how narratives begin on the tour. They never come out of nowhere, someone starts them. Later, back in the locker room, a player I'm close with pulled me aside and said, "Hey, just so you know, someone from her camp has been talking." I asked, "Talking about what?" She said, "About you, about the match, about your attitude, about you being disrespectful." I literally laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was unbelievable. The person who disrespected me was now painting me as the disrespectful one. And this is where things get real, because once the media gets a narrative planted in their heads, they run with it, whether it's true or not. The next morning, I woke up to articles online saying things like, "Gauff Sabalenka tensions rise." Gauff shows attitude after match. Is Coco becoming difficult behind the scenes? And sitting there reading those headlines, I felt my stomach twist. It wasn't just hurt, it was betrayal. How do you defend yourself when the other side is already shaping the story? And how do you stay calm when the narrative is completely backwards? But it didn't stop there. Later that afternoon, the WTA called me in for a quick conversation. Whenever they say that, trust me, it's never quick and never casual. It was 2 officials. They sat me down and said they've been hearing concerns about tension between me and Sabalenka. I told them calmly that there were some disagreements and some disrespectful moments, but nothing more than that. But they didn't seem satisfied. One of them leaned in and said, "Coco, you're becoming very influential. You need to be mindful of how you carry yourself. People look up to you." The implication was obvious. They thought I caused the problem. I responded respectfully but firmly. I said, "If you want to understand what's going on, maybe you should talk to both sides, not just me." They looked at each other and didn't say a word. And that silence told me everything. The story reaching them wasn't neutral. It wasn't balanced. Someone was feeding them a version that made me look like the issue.
Excuse Excuse me, what is the most amount of money you make?
Man, the most amount of money she made. All right, let's pull it back up.
Meeting, I felt something shift inside me. I realized this wasn't a simple conflict anymore. This was politics. This was positioning. This was someone trying to shape the narrative to protect their reputation by damaging mine. And honestly, that's when I lost the last bit of patience I had. A few days later, something happened that sealed the entire story forever. I was walking through the player hallway with my headphones on when I passed Sabalenka and two members of her team. I wasn't even looking at them. I was minding my business. But as I walked past, I heard her say just loud enough, "She's acting like a princess now. I'm done with her." I froze mid-step, not because of the words themselves, but because she wanted me to hear it. She chose the volume intentionally. She chose the timing intentionally. It wasn't an accident. She wanted to provoke a reaction. I turned around calmly and said, "If you have something to say to me, say it to my face." And I swear, the way she looked at me, it was a mix of surprise and irritation. She didn't expect me to confront her in that moment. Maybe she thought I'd walk away again. Not this time. She stepped closer and said, "You're making drama out of nothing." I said, "I'm not the one talking behind people's backs." She rolled her eyes and said, "You take everything too personally. Grow up." That was it. The line crossed for the final time. I stepped forward and said quietly but clearly, "I earned my place here. You don't get to belittle me, not publicly, not privately. I never disrespected you until you disrespected me." She didn't reply. She just stared at me like she wanted to say something but couldn't. Or maybe she realized she finally pushed too far. I'm not sure, but I turned away because I wasn't going to stand there and give her more power by arguing. But the damage was done. The whole hallway went silent. Everyone saw it, everyone heard it, and from that moment on, things were never the same again. Not between us, not between our teams, not in the locker room. And that night, my coach sat me down and said, "Coco, you have every right to defend yourself. Don't ever doubt that." But deep down, I knew this wasn't about just one confrontation. This was about a pattern, a long pattern of disrespect that kept escalating. And at some point, I had to draw a line. And when I finally walked back to my room, I said the words out loud for the first time. I can't respect her anymore. Not because of one insult, not because of one practice incident, not because of one comment in a hallway, but because of everything combined: the attitude, the dismissiveness, the comments, the gossip, the manipulation of the narrative, the superiority complex. Respect isn't forced, respect is earned, and she lost mine, piece by piece. After everything that happened, the comments, the tension, the hallway confrontation, the media narratives, I reached a point where I had to sit with myself and ask a question that every athlete eventually faces: is this worth it? Not tennis. Tennis is always worth it. The sport itself has never been the problem. The problem was the energy surrounding me. The problem was the disrespect. The problem was the way one person's attitude started affecting my peace, my confidence, and my environment. And the truth is, I didn't want to admit how much it got to me at first. I told myself to shake it off. I told myself to stay professional. I told myself that not everyone will like you, and that's fine. But this wasn't about liking or disliking. This wasn't personal preference. This was personal disrespect. And when it keeps happening, it becomes emotional weight. And I felt that weight everywhere. I felt it during warmups. I felt it in locker rooms. I felt it during press. I felt it when people whispered. I felt it when staff looked nervous around us. And most importantly, I felt it when I realized I was starting to question myself, not as a player, but as a human being. There was one night when everything finally hit me. I was in my hotel room, sitting on the bed with my headphones on, trying to distract myself, but the thoughts kept coming back. Why did she treat me like that? What did I do to deserve it? How did things get so twisted so fast? And then the worst thought came: why am I letting this get to me? I took my headphones off and just sat there silent, thinking, not about her, but about myself, my identity, my values, my standards. I realized something that changed everything. I wasn't upset because she disrespected me. I was upset because I allowed it to affect me for so long. Somewhere along the way, I gave too much power to her words, her reactions, her opinions. And once I realized that, the whole situation became clearer. I couldn't control how she treated me. I couldn't control the narrative she pushed. I couldn't control what people chose to believe, but I could control how I responded, and I could control whether or not I stayed silent. And staying silent wasn't helping me anymore. It was eating me alive.
Imagine being able to build
Whatever.
Something different. I stopped paying attention to her energy completely. And
Almost
if
done, guys.
she made a face, I ignored it. If she whispered something, I ignored it. If her team stared at me, I ignored it. And I stopped giving her that power. And slowly I felt myself getting lighter, not happier, but stronger. The WTA, meanwhile, did what the WTA always does, nothing meaningful. They called me in again, asked if the issue was resolved. And I said, there is no issue unless someone creates one. They nodded and moved on. That's how things work. They don't fix the culture. They just wait for players to stop talking. But I didn't forget and I didn't forgive, not because I'm holding a grudge, but because forgiveness requires accountability, and there was none. People always say athletes should be mentally tough, and we are, but toughness doesn't mean silence. Toughness doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. Toughness doesn't mean letting people walk over you. Toughness means standing up for yourself when the world expects you to smile and stay quiet. And that's why I'm saying this now. I'm telling this story because young players coming up deserve to know the truth. They deserve to know that sometimes your biggest opponent isn't across the net. As someone in the locker room trying to break your confidence, they deserve to know that not everyone will treat them with respect, no matter how respectful they are. And they deserve to know that speaking up doesn't make you weak, it makes you honest. I didn't want this to become a feud. I didn't want this to become gossip. I didn't want fans to pick sides. But at some point, staying silent becomes another form of suffering. I kept everything inside for months because I didn't want to look dramatic or emotional or sensitive. But if being sensitive means having boundaries, then I'll take that label proudly. So let me say this clearly, calmly, and with full honesty. I don't respect Sabalenka anymore.
All right, I'm gonna stop it there because we're just about at the end. But when we are talking, when we're talking about this, and I know some people they're like, "Oh, that's AI," right? Some parts could definitely truly seem to be AI, but following everything that took place, a lot of the words in this video are exactly what has taken place. And so we can pull up so many different things, but when you compile it together, this is exactly what happened. These are things that happen in the tennis world over and over again. I have two different videos of Serena coming out and saying that, hey, Coco did come to her, and she listened to her, she gave her advice, but now she's speaking out, right? And when you come to start to speak out about a player in situations like that, and like she said, her platform, she's gone through it all. She's gone through um, being the person that had to go through this. She was the person that had to, let me go back here. She's the person that had to go through this in the media. Now, there's some things that Coco shared in this video here, which we know to be true. And so I don't care how fixated, we can kind of depict and break this video down and look how it's chopped and the pausing here and there. And I do know sometimes people will pull stuff out of words that may be said out. But you can also look at some of the things in here where it looks like she is kind of tweaked and kind of, pieced back together with some of the same things. But this video was mainly to show that the things that go on in tennis, that is happening in tennis clearly, and this whole thing with Slavenko was a big deal, and still to this day, when you go through and you say, and this is not the only athlete that have said this, you've had situations with Venus and Serena, you've had situations with uh Naomi. You think of the other young lady, that the African American that was there. They're all going through some of the same things. you are now the face and you have to do XYZ because if you don't, we can make your career and break your career. It's the same thing, guys. Look at what they attempted to do with Angel. So this is the same coincide when you think about things that go on behind the scenes. And like they said, I'm someone from the basketball aspect can kind of give a small insight of behind the scenes, but not a full insight because I haven't been in it for a little while. But when the league started, and for a better part of the beginning of it, first few years of it, I was. So I kind of can give you a navigation of some of the things that do happen. And then when it comes to a sport like this is literally truly no different, but at the same time different because it's a 1v1. And I think, again, Felipe spoke on that. When it's a 1v1 and you're going through stuff like this, it changes the narrative. When they say that they can take your slot, you have a media slot. And it's the same with any sport, right? You have a media slot and your slot becomes someone else's slot, right? So now you don't get your media shot, which also is a part of your brand deals and some of the things that you have. Because when you are a top player, especially in tennis, when you become the face or you're that top player, you get all, if not most, you get majority, if not all, interviews. So when you don't get those interviews and you're unseen, or if you don't, as they say, play and move to the beat of my drum, I'm gonna fix your next schedule that kind of basically can hurt you. You can kind of win it, but I'm gonna make you tired. I'm gonna let you play on a smaller court or a court that's in the back and not the main court that have the televised videos and cameras and things like that and the lighting on the court, and then turn around and have you play the game as early as noon the next day, which you just played the night before, which is very hard on the tennis player's body. That's why they can play back to back, but you got to give them the hours. You got to give them the time for rest. So if they played at noon today, they shouldn't play until at least noon tomorrow, at best tomorrow night, because it allows their body to recover. But if they play at noon and then you have them playing at 9 a.m. the next morning, then where is it that their body recovers? So these are the things in which we talk about, and this is where this comes and alludes to some of the things that happen behind closed doors and behind the scenes of tennis. And it is those that say, I want you to avoid these questions because these questions are going to be asked. If you don't avoid these questions that are going to be asked, then we're there's consequences for you speaking your mind versus kind of trying to maneuver your way away from being able to answer something like that. Facts for side, Tony. Baseball teams, uh, back to back, every day, dang near in the MLB. Yes, that's the same thing. Like look at the World Series. That's crazy. Some games like they didn't even really score. One team scored, and then you got like one or two scores in all of 9 innings, and then that 11th or 12th inning, now people are scoring because everybody's just tired. And at this point, either you're going to go for the ball or you're not, or you're going to pitch a good pitch or you're not, or you're going to get it across or you're not, or you're going to swing the bat the right way or you're not. So all of these sports all have some of the same things in common. They have some of the same things in common as Coco, and it just doesn't change. And I do want to play Jasmine Crockett's. I know that this was a long one, but the one person that I want to make sure that I play because it is important, and she was on the View, and she spoke on this issue because it is an issue. And if anybody knows about politics and issues, it is Jasmine Crockett. And so let's get into Jasmine real quick, and then we can speak a little bit more freely about all of this in just a moment. So let me get to Jasmine. Let's enlarge this so it's up and open. And Jasmine's segment is just like 17 minutes.
steamroll right over you. And unfortunately, we see that ever since day one, baby, that pen been going and it ain't stopped, and it's steamrolling over all of our rights.
Asmon Crockett didn't walk onto The View that morning expecting to make headlines. But by the time she walked out, the internet was melting down. It wasn't just another debate about sports or politics. It was a live television masterclass in truth-telling, the kind that makes audiences jump out of their seats and producers panic in their earpieces. Because when one of the hosts decided to question Coco Gauff's attitude, Crockett went off script, off cue, and straight into history. And here's the kicker. She did it with 15 words that will be replayed for years. Coco Gauff isn't angry, she's awake. And that scares the people still asleep. Those words detonated across the internet like a cultural grenade. What started as a calm talk show segment turned into one of the most viral political pop culture moments of 2025. Let's rewind and set the scene, because this wasn't random. This was a collision of politics, sports, and unapologetic Black excellence that America just couldn't look away from.
Why don't the Japanese get
Boy, I
diabetes?
tell you, these videos be on it. They be on it and they go quick. Golly, I gotta be quick on the draw, y'all. I gotta be quick on the draw. I'm a little behind on the draw.
That day, the producers wanted something uplifting. The segment's headline, Young Women Changing the Game. Jasmine Crockett, the firebrand congresswoman from Texas, was invited to talk about leadership, role models, and the rise of young women in sports. They figured she'd say a few nice things, flash her signature smile, and head back to DC. But the timing couldn't have been more charged. Coco Gauff had just destroyed 2 top seeds in practice sessions ahead of the WTA finals. Clips of her laser-focused training, her fierce energy, her defiant celebration, all of it had gone viral. Social media called her the future of American tennis. But of course, there were critics. Some commentators said Coco was too outspoken, too confident, or too political. So naturally, The View brought that conversation to the table. And that's where things went sideways. Midway through the discussion, one of the hosts, let's just say not Whoopi, leaned in and asked the question that lit the match. Jasmine, don't you think athletes like Coco are focusing too much on identity politics instead of just focusing on their game? The audience murmured. You could almost hear the collective eye roll from every woman in the room. Crockett blinked once, then twice. You could see her calculating. For a moment, she smiled politely, that "you don't even know what you just stepped into" kind of smile. Then she leaned forward, adjusted her mic, and said the words that froze the table. Coco Gauff isn't angry, she's awake, and that scares the people still asleep. The crowd went dead silent. Whoopi Goldberg leaned back with a smirk that said, "Here we go." Joy Behar's jaw literally dropped. The audience hesitated for a second, then erupted in applause that drowned out the studio feed. See, Crockett didn't just defend Coco Gauff, she decoded a whole cultural double standard in one sentence. Because let's be honest, when a young Black woman shows fire, it's attitude. When a white athlete does it, it's passion. Crockett wasn't going to let that slide. She continued, calmly but firmly, "Every time Coco wins, y'all call it confidence," until she talks about where she comes from. Then suddenly, it's politics. Her joy threatens people who still think humility means silence. That's not on her, that's on us. Boom. Another wave of applause. Even Sunny Hostin, herself an attorney and a longtime voice on race and representation, nodded in full agreement. This wasn't Crockett being political, this was Crockett being real. She wasn't reading from cue cards. She was channeling decades of frustration that millions of viewers felt but rarely heard articulated on daytime TV. Producers reportedly tried to cut to commercial early, but Whoopi, the queen of letting good chaos breathe, waved them off and said, "Nah, let her finish." Crockett did. She leaned back in her chair and dropped another truth. The issue isn't Coco Gauff talking about who she is. The issue is America still thinking Black excellence should come with a warning label. Within minutes, someone in the studio audience uploaded the clip. Shaky footage, bad angle, but crystal clear audio. And that's all it took. Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube lit up. Within an hour, Jasmine Crockett was the #1 trending topic worldwide. Hashtag Coco Gauff trended second. The reactions came fast and loud. Someone posted the clip on Instagram with the caption, "Unapologetic, unfiltered, unforgettable." Others wrote simply, "This, period." Political voices joined too. What Representative Crockett said about Coco isn't just about tennis. It's about every field where excellence gets rebranded as arrogance when it comes with melanin. The clip crossed 20 million views in 24 hours. Then CNN,
Wow.
MSNBC, ESPN, everyone picked it up. But this wasn't some partisan soundbite. It was a cultural reckoning disguised as a morning talk show. Interestingly, Coco Gauff didn't post anything right away. No tweets, no stories, no interviews. Fans speculated endlessly. Then, 3 days later, she finally broke her silence with one tweet. "Some people defend you louder than you ever thought they could. Thank you, Representative Crockett." It got over 1 million likes in under 12 hours. Behind the scenes, sources close to Coco
I'm just going to stop it there, right? So the whole idea of the fact that when Jasmine, let me tell you something. If you're not following Jasmine Crockett, I suggest you follow her. If you're not, I suggest you follow her. She has great words. She has words of wisdom. She has all of what's going on in the world today that she's putting out there that tells you where we are right now, where we stand, and what we look like as a country. I follow her through and through. Although I can't really speak much on political standpoints, I do anyway, sometimes, but to a point, just a smidget, just a smidget. But for someone to simply have to come out and speak on all these things that's going on with Coco, and that was literally, she was on The View just recently. So, guys, sometimes you just gotta sit back and you gotta look. Crockett is out there campaigning, but as she campaigning, she talks on real life and real facts, and she talks about things that deal with us, but not so much just us. It doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Right is right and wrong is wrong, and that's what she stands for, and that's why I love watching her and watching where she's going with any topic that she's speaking on. She's a really, she's a good real one. Let's put it that way. She's a really good real one out there that if I had to put my money on who speaks truth when it comes to the political side of the house, I would absolutely have to go with Jasmine Crockett. But just go and the more people than just Jasmine Crockett and Serena Williams are coming out and they're speaking on this scenario, because at this point now I know that AI plays a part in some of the video, but when you think about Gauff and her coming out and speaking on herself, these are things that just something that you nor I can say that isn't true, right? Because these things are happening. Otherwise, it would have never been mentioned. Otherwise, AI would have something to fall back on, i.e., anybody else that speak up on her. So when you're going through so much turmoil and it messes with your mental, look at Naomi, man. It messed with her mental. She couldn't go for a while. I mean, play tennis for a while. You think about when she had to take the break, and now she's back. It's like she said, her mental was more important than the sport. That speaks volumes. It speaks volumes, and you can't take that away from anybody. In your soliloquy, what is it that you think is best for your mental? Sometimes it's just sharing and speaking up and defending yourself. If you're always standing on the sidelines and you're never able to speak on something that is causing you to lose sleep at night, then you're doing more harm than good to yourself. Let's see. Who is Jasmine Crockett? Sounds like she can make some good as pancakes. You so silly, good. Jasmine Crockett looks good as hell. Let her on the on the show, of course, I Tony. Hey, if I knew Jasmine, now mind you, Jasmine Crockett is from Texas. She is she sits at one of them nice, big, cushiony round tables up there in the White House, brother. And she's out here and she's speaking on everybody's behalf. Is she a Democrat? Yes, but she does not choose sides when it comes to right and wrong. She is a prolific lawyer, um, and she's amazing. She's extremely amazing. So go look her up. Trust me, you'll find a lot on her. She's really, really good. She speaks truth, and she puts it out there where things are covered, and people think that the world shouldn't know. While money's being stolen from us in this country, she let it be known where it's going. Put it this way. So that is Jasmine Crockett. That's what she does. Um, but um, on that note, guys, that's the whole ordeal when it comes to Coco, and I wanted to put that out there, and I wanted to speak on her and bring out literally the best of what we can find on the things that's going on with yet another African American athlete. And don't get me wrong, guys, if something was going on with a Caucasian athlete or a Hispanic athlete or any other nationality, right is right and wrong is wrong. And I'm one of those people that will speak on things when it comes to what's right and what's wrong. It just so happens right now, the biggest problem that we have in our country right now seems to deal with the colorization of one skin that is of black. I'm just gonna say it like that. Um, However, we have to find ways to always put it out there and try to highlight those moments so they don't go unscathed. Unscathed moments kind of put us all in one of them rants that just in the end we find out when it's too late. Maybe somebody couldn't take it no more. And next thing you know, they've unalived themselves. And now it's like, well, what happened? What took place? We didn't know this. And this is what makes it important for these ladies to speak up for themselves. And that too, for a fact, I rock with Angel, not just simply because I've been watching her since she was a high school student, but she was on the AAU circuit. But for the mere fact that I've watched her grow up, I've watched her mature, and I've watched her become a prolific woman, one that is for the same thing that you just heard me talk about and show on Jasmine Crockett, for what's right, for putting women's sports out there, for speaking on things that are unjust, whether people some others would think that, oh, she's saying that she's prejudiced. How is she prejudiced when the prejudice moments are coming towards her in such vitriol? Now you look, it's coming at Coco, it's coming at her, although Coco is one of the best tennis players in the world. It doesn't matter. You still have to beat upon someone else's drum. It doesn't matter where you are in that statue. So when folks say, oh, well, they should just do this and they should just do that. Well, sometimes it's not that simple. It's not that easy. There's a right time to do things. It's a right time to speak out. And then there's that moment where it's a time to stay silent until that moment comes. And this is the moment that's come because now that Coco is on top of her game, and she's one of the greats. Now she could speak on those things. When Coco came on the circuit at 16 years old, you wouldn't dare hear her say something like this because, for one, she's young. If you didn't hear, there's a moment where things were going on with Coco, and her parents asked her um, what's going on because they felt something was different with their daughter. She just said nothing. It's okay. I got it. And sometimes you saying that doesn't help you as a whole. You lose your mental. Because sometimes, goddamn it, I seem like I lose my goddamn mental in the military world. But we quickly have to come back to reality because for me, I am not just a soldier. I have soldiers under me. So when I have soldiers under me, I have to have a sound mind and a peaceful, uh, find a peaceful resolution to things to try to make things okay. And sometimes, no matter what you do to make them okay, they're never really okay given the situation. But you have to find a balance, even when it's not okay. And unfortunately, for an athlete, these are things that they have to comb through and go through because every athlete, like I said, every athlete goes through something. And we will never know because they're meant to be able to just play the game, play the sport in which they're in, whether it's golf, soccer, tennis, males football, um, and all these other sports that are out there, croquet, all those different things. A sport sometimes. It doesn't matter if it's croquet, if it's bobsledding, or what it is, ice skating, figure skating. These are all sports that everybody's going through something. The gymnast, you've heard the stories of gymnasts. It's atrocious. It's atrocious. And the key word is always if you want to be the best, this is what you got to do. If you are the best, it's if you want to stay on top, this is what you need to do. Unfortunately, it is a sad, sad situation. It's a sad situation. Max goes out, Tony, do they put shit in the military food? I don't know, man. Do I go to basic training? When I went to basic training, Goon, spells my age. I went to basic training in 1992. 1992. That's when the military, anything goes. People can talk about your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your brother, your sister. It doesn't matter. They can tell you you can go to hell and there ain't nothing you can do about it. You get hit with the brim of a hat. You roll up and down hills and all that stuff. Go hug a tree. I was once told, hey, go hug that tree. That's when MJ was in his prime, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's why Chicago's Bulls at that time was my team. That was my team growing up. And to say that they're not my team now, I'm not going to say that. They're still a team that I watch. They're just not the team because right now I just watch all teams. So I don't have a favorite team when it comes to the NBA. But yes, we all go through something. Now remember, in the military, what counts against you is you're black. That's number one. I'm a female. That's number two. It is extremely difficult to maneuver, but only the strong survive, unfortunately. We go through a lot of shit, a lot, especially as a female. We go through a lot. We take a lot. But nevertheless, if it's something you love doing, you'll do it. It's just like the sport. If you love the sport, you'll find a way to stick through it while making your voice heard at the same time, not putting yourself too deep in a situation to where you can no longer deal with or play that sport or do that job. My job in the military when I was federal service was teeth. I was a dental assistant slash hygienist, and that's what I did. And then I worked maxillofacial surgery, where I was in a surgery room day in and day out. I've seen some stuff. Trust me, I've seen some stuff in the emergency room, in the ER, in the surgical tech room. To be a surgical tech is not as easy as most people think. Um, that's why they get paid quite a bit of money. The medical field is the medical field, no matter which way you choose to branch off in that medical field. Um, that's how it is. Let's see, IT Prime. Your Pelican boys tired of losing. They're throwing punches now. Hey, sometimes it be that way. It's called the frustration tactic. I wish they weren't they didn't go to violence, but hey, somebody did something to make them. Hey, I just got two losing teams right now, man. But nevertheless, they're my team. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say to you, Tulu. They doing a lot. Let's see. Course side, Tony, how many you whooped in the military? Oh, quite a bit. Can't disclose, but quite a bit. I'm a put it this way, Goon. I'm a bad motherfucker. Put it that way. I am. I'm a bad MF. I am. I really am. I am. I just walk and people's like, oh, I'm so afraid of her. I'm just a person though, guys. I'm not that type of person. I'm just people see you, they look at your stigma, they see how sharp you are. I will never put on a no part of my uniform that's wrinkled. I can't walk around wrinkled. I'm starched to the T, sharp. I know my shit, and it ain't much that you can tell me. Like right now, there's a situation, and in that situation, I have some things that I need to do to fix that situation. But it's a part of life. It's called work, and you just got to work at some point. Meanwhile, Unc and Jacob Bull got windmill ducked on. Yeah. Jacob, y'all got windmill dog? God dog, Jacob. I think I got you in the race, but you got me in the fight. Hey, yeah. Hey, sometimes that way people think I'm a step slow, but if you met my soldiers right now, they will tell you, God damn it, nobody would ever believe you're 51. You move around here like you 25. They keep me young, they keep me moving, and I like it nevertheless. Courtside Tony, Larissa Shield, they're street fighting. I know it. She probably is. Oh man, yeah. Larissa Shields is it's a tactic to have to deal with somebody like that. You can get in a ring and you can box and you use techniques, right? The street fighting is totally different. Mayweather will tell you that. Mayweather will tell you that. You deal with techniques in a ring. And hey, whoever gets the first punch off gets the first punch off. But when it comes to just fighting on the street, that's different. Everything goes. Bricks, bottles, you name it, it all goes. You do what you got to do to get that punch off. So hey, you get that punch off, and then you bust a person in the head real quick. Hey, I'm from New Orleans, man. I look, we from the street. Everybody knows we from the street. So hey, there's no love when it comes to war. Okay, nothing fair in love and war. It is what it is. You make it happen, Captain. It says, Miss Prime, if the UFC was around in your prime, would you fight? You know, I'm gonna tell you a story, and I'll make it real quick to the play. In New Orleans, you know, the I mean, I'm gonna say the little gangsters out there, the gangsters, they used to have little little boxing matches. Put it that way. And you pick the best fighters out there, and you pay them to go beat somebody up, go fuck them up. In other words, so been there, done that. Tulip, you saw that? Yeah, that's sometimes you got to get your dollars where you can. I'm not that person anymore. Uh, I was an athlete in school, Tulip. I stayed out of trouble. I've never been in had a run in with the law. I'm straight. I have like the perfect record in the world. But I tell you, there's moments that could have went different. Let's put it that way. Alicia Baumgartner underrated, but she ain't ready for Clarissa. No, she's not. I agree with you. She ain't ready. I want to see that fight too. I want to see that fight. Let's see. In a street fight, I'll take an MMA fighter over a boxer. Yeah, I'm real good at that. That's why I studied two different forms of martial arts. I'm good. I'm good too. It's not often that I get to brag. Put it this way, I get a lot of people say, "Why don't you tell your story?" I never tell my story because sometimes I'm just me. I'm just the natural, ordinary human being that if I have to defend myself, I will. Um, but I'm never gonna go look for a fight. I'll more than likely try to talk the person off a ledge because that's what you would be on if you're coming for me. You would be on the ledge. So my job is to talk you down and get your mind right. Yeah. So it's called Years of Experience. Westside Tony went to school with Master P. How you know? How you know? Goon? How you know? That's the truth. That's the truth. Tony, did you see AJ break Jake Paul? Oh, I just saw the clips. I don't know if Jake Paul want to fight anymore. It was a YouTube thing that he tried to turn into a real boxer, and he met some people that, yeah, he was able to scapegoat and make YouTube money off of while also boxing. But see the aftermath. Sometimes when you playing with fire and you meet the right person, it's never a good ending. But sometimes, if that's what you want to do and that is your passion, after that jaw heals, you're gonna get back in the ring and you're gonna fight some more. But no, I just whew, I saw clips and man, that boy buckled like a $2 hooker. he was he was holding on for dear life. Oh man. Let's see. She talk about Goon. Tony, why Goon messing with you? Goon not messing with me. Goon all right. Goon tried, but Goon. No, he was trying to mess with me, but he don't know that was actually an actual factual ADP. It's actually the truth. He was trying, but it's the truth. Hmm. Yeah, I know all them little guys and gals and rappers and hoodlums and people. I know them all. While he was messing with me, it was absolutely the truth. Clarissa is like 4 or 5 weight divisions heavier than Alicia. That fight will never happen. I saw them standing side by side, and yeah, sometimes when you say you're the best in the world, and I believe right now she's just on top of the world, and that's a good thing for the sport. But I think people want to see other folks win. They just gotta get their shit together. They gotta get it together. ADP, everybody else quit. I'm keeping courtside Tony company. Everybody left me. I know, Goon. They all rocked out on this. All right, that is all good. We already talked our talking points, and we're near. We are at the end, and so I'm just kind of chilling with you guys right now. Alicia versus Caroline Dubose is the fight to make similar size. They are similar size, similar build, so it's gonna be interesting if they can make that happen. But I think the difference between Clarissa going up and down speaks volumes for what she wants to do and where she want to be great on all levels. It's just right now you don't have anybody out there that has the technical skills that she have inside the ring, and that's why she's able to break people down on both ends. Now I know she tried MMA and she had to get the hell up out of there real quick because it didn't work for her. Plus, I Tony was in in the military with C Murder. Nah, C Murder wouldn't have made. He wouldn't have made it. He wouldn't have made it. He wouldn't have made it. Master P is the basketball player. Master P should have been in the pros and in the pros for years. But he chose the rap game, and as you can see, he did try out for the NBA. He made a team, he made the roster, and but I don't think the NBA was ready for someone like Master P. It takes us back to Flage, right? Flage is able to do both, and now we're in a different era where they're allowing things like that to happen, which is great, right? To have your first female uh, basketball player slash artist. You had a couple of NBA players that dibbled and dabbled with a song here and there in the NBA, but where Master P was when he went and he tried out for the NBA and he made the team and he was an official NBA player. They just weren't ready for the level of popularity when it came to the rap industry and what it would bring to to the NBA. The NBA wasn't ready for that, and that's why. And that uh, I believe Master P spoke on that at one time. He did talk about that, and that was important. But he was an excellent basketball player. He went to St. Augustine, uh, which is high school, which my nephew goes there right now. He's a senior. He's a band member. He's done really well, but it's a all boys school, and you only the best of the best get accepted into there. And back then, you kind of have to have money to go there, but if you don't, and you're a great athlete like Master P was, somebody will pay your tuition. And so you have sponsors there that will pay for certain uh, kids' tuition so they can afford the ability to go to a school like that. You had St. Aug, and then you had St. Mary's, which was the all girls school. High school I went to was Old Parrot Walker High School, and it was a school that had a lot of military kids in there. And so we had the multilingual program. We had a bunch of stuff there. So our school was like what you call a magnet school where anybody in a city can go to that school. It didn't matter what district you lived in, but you had to get accepted into one of those programs to go to my high school. My high school was a very good athletic school. So yeah, I was a top runner. I played basketball. I was good, but I was a better runner than I was a basketball player, and I would definitely say that. I did get a scholarship to LSU, but I chose the military instead. So there you go. Sometimes when you have to feed your family, and I grew up poor, so you got to take care of your family. It is what it is. Let's see, Jake. Jake was picking on a 60-year-old. He finally he finally fought a real boxer and got his mouth shut. He did too. Look at that, he did. Now he's talking through the wire like, God, yeah. Hey, Sometimes that's how it is. He like you, Tony. I know. Oh, cool's all right. He's all right, ADP. He's all right. Let's see. We still rocking with Tony. Tell him ADP gonna rock with me till we get up off this thing, which we're gonna get off in just in about 5 more minutes. Get off right on time. Um, Facts. It's all good. Let's see. Tulip, I thought they were playing. They were playoff. They were a playoff team. Did I said we inconsistent trash? Jacob, Jacob. Are you on the fence again? Jacob, you got to stay off the fence, man. You gotta climb down off the fence and get off the fence and just pick a side, brother. Pick a side. Don't be two faced. Of course, I Tony, but C Murder and Master P did go to the military. Yeah, yeah. C Murder went to a military. All right, he's still there, and it ain't the type of military you think. Jacob, y'all are competitive at least. Yeah, it's the wow, Tony. I didn't know that one about Master P. Yeah, if you go back and look at Master P history, you will see that he did trial for who was it? Was it the Hornets? I think it was the Hornets, and he made the team. And he was on the team, and they was like, look at the type of people he's going to be bringing in, and no, they had to let him go. He made the team, and I think he played 5 or 6 games. He was there for 10 games or something like that, and that was yeah. They was like, no, they had to let him go. But yeah, he was an extremely good basketball player. Put it this way, they bet on him. And, yeah, they had some gamblers back then. He was a player that you could bet on, and you would win your money. Uh, Mystical went to the Desert Storm. Yeah, he sure did. He's still in that Desert Storm, baby. He was in the Desert Storm. He got out, and now he back, and he gonna be in that Desert Storm for a minute. Hey, by the way, y'all know his son just put out a song. I saw it on TikTok. I saw it on TikTok. He sounds just like his father. But Bears clinched the NFC North by praying my girls don't get beat by Nebraska. Hey, Jacob, that's a game, Jacob. That's a game. Who plays how to yeah, y'all lose to the Clippers. Hey, Jacob, why you Jacob, you be on one sometimes, Tony. What it Tony, what distance did you run? I ran the 400. I was a quarter runner and I was damn good. It's hard to get a scholarship as a quarter runner because not everybody meets the time. My split in high school, and we ran the state tournament at LSU. So my split as a senior was a 50. I ran a 54 in high school. So yeah, that afforded me a nice scholarship. Actually, the 3 schools, but I didn't know I had it because I was away at military, and sometimes you can kind of get out the contract if you get a scholarship, but uh, because I waited a week too late. They was like, nah, she can come in January. But as a matter of fact, Shaq was still in college at the time. But I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm cool. I'll stick with the military. Is like, nope, we're not letting you go. So sometimes it's extremely political, and you just have to rock with it. Do I regret it? No, I don't regret anything about my life. If you ever have to spend time regretting anything in your life, then that's not a good thing. And in God's words and in His eyes, it just wasn't my time. So what I went to do was what God wanted me to do. Let's see what Coast was. Were mid and hurt. Hmm. About the Bulls, Tony. Oh, what about the Bulls? So, Jacob, you're on the fence about the Bulls. You on the fence about the Bulls? Because I know you're not about the Bears. You're on the fence about the Bulls. Now, Jacob, while we talk about this, when you guys get that first playoff game, I don't want to hear no shit from you, Jacob. If y'all start off slow and y'all start losing the game, I don't want to hear that. Don't be flip flopping because you say that's your team. Stick with your team. Stick with your guns, my man. Not the Lulu like So you said you're covering AU. I w- I just want to see. Oh, okay, okay. Nation play. We'll see. I will definitely do that for sure. I will definitely do that for sure. They consistent trash, Jacob. Nah, Seymour actually went to military. Look it up, Jacob. Cut it out, Jacob. I don't need to look it up, Jacob. Cut it out. I know just about everybody in New Orleans that went to the military, my man. It wasn't very many of us. Trust me. I know who all went during my era. During my era, I know who all went. Why? Because we all knew each other. We all knew who was gonna do what, when, why, and how. Tony, what do you think about LSU missing out on our jersey? Who's who's gonna replace Big Four now? Hmm, that's a good question, Tulip. Hmm, yeah, that one. I gotta think on that a second. I think that where or why Jersey made a decision, it has to do surrounding the players, right? I don't think that the players that LSU have is a bad group of players, but remember we spoke about them having a ton of a ton of guards already. And her playing a position like-minded there of Big Four. I think that there's a couple of signees, committees for LSU that could they won't come in and they won't be a jersey, but I wish she'd have gone there. However, I mean, South Carolina has such an amazing program. I would it wouldn't matter to me if she went to them or LSU, even that of UConn. But I don't see her fitting in a UConn system, right? I see her fitting in a Dawn Staley system. If she wants more freedom, then the perfect system for her would be LSU. However, she made a choice. I guess Dawn gave that stellar uh, vocal voice, gave her what she needed to hear, and that's why she's there, which is great. That's really good. I got to learn to be unbiased. Yeah, you do, Jacob. You said it. You say you straight. No, he does, Tulip. He needs to be unbiased. Let's see. Ringside Tony, you and ADP like boxing. If so, you would mark, you would mark the women's boxing space. Ain't nobody doing that. Um, I could, but I want to try to find a way that is feasible to actually show some of that stuff because you can show clips, but the clips and stuff just don't do the sport no meaning. It doesn't do any justice. That's just like going in and watching the highlights of a basketball game. You get the gist, and then you want to come and talk about it. But that to me, that makes people look uh, unprofessional, like they don't know the sport. I'm very keen on boxing, but I'm really good on MMA. Why? Because MMA was something that I really wanted to do, and I actually started training for it. However, I had to rethink that because this face right here. if you bruise this space, I kind of black out. And so, yeah, I said, never mind. But, first of all, you got to touch it. And, in MMA, anybody can get touched anyway, form fashion. They rush you up against that gate. You get rushed. You study wrong for just a mere spitch of a second. And it gets to be uh, not so good for you on that end. Trust me, it's bad. I've been hit, and it doesn't feel good. I've been kicked so hard that it make you see stars, but you gotta quickly break out of it and get back in the fight. So yeah, so I'm a fan of both bulls and bears, but I'll admit it. We know you're a fan. It's just sometimes you're a flipper when it comes to the. You act like a flipper sometimes. You're a fan, uh, but you act like a flipper, Jacob. I'll say we play like trash. Yeah, we know. We know they play like trash. My team play like trash, but I ain't gonna sit here and just dog them. Come on, man. Y'all dog them enough for me. I just gotta sit here and take it. So, who's your freshman of the year so far in college? I don't have one. I'm still debating. Definitely ask me that question before we get to playoffs, and I'll have one. Because right now, I got five I'm looking at, and out of that five, I got three major ones, but I have to see how they fare in the conference because right now anybody can look great. Anybody, any and all, gonna look fabulous when it comes to your teams and when they're blowing teams out, and you're gonna see them put up numbers. But when you are playing teams that are going to challenge you along the way, that's what's most important to me. Like right now, everybody's spending this time working on their sets, working on their teams, and trying to build from there. So to me, everybody looks good. Some look better than others, but it's going to be when they get into their conference play and me being able to really watch them excel there. That's where I want to really see them excel, and I want to see the returnees do something different, which means they have to sell themselves if they're seniors. If they're juniors and they're sophomores, I want to see them be better because right now it's easy for them all to look good. It's easy for them all to put up numbers. It's easy for them all to get a lot of steals, have double doubles and triple doubles, and this, that, and the third. What's going to count for me is when I see them get into their conference play. Now, Tony, see Murder went to the military. If you say so, Goon, I'm gonna let you have that. See, I've got you got Jazzy so far, and she leads USC. I mean, she's fabulous. I love her to death. I think that she is extremely someone that is one of the great ones to follow all the way through because she's going pro. She's gonna go pro. So I want to see her improve every year, and I want to see her be the dominant force every year, just like she is as a freshman. Assists, rebounds, steals, and blocks. The fact she has more blocks per game than Betts. Yeah, it speaks volumes. And for her, I don't have to wait for conference play because it's a little different for their team, right? Because their team isn't that great because the veterans aren't showing up like I thought they would. They got to show up every night. They got to stamp their mark, and some of them just aren't going to make it past this year here, and they're going to be done. But Jazz is amazing. I like what I love. I don't like I say I like. I love watching her play. I love what she's doing. But for me, it's going to be those vets stepping up. But Jazzy, we know that she's going to do her thing in conference play. So, like, she was one of my five. Um, and so I'm not looking for an astonishing conference play from her because she's already proven to me where she is. She can only enhance my thoughts of her as an athlete and being one of the top freshmen out there. I gotta say the same. You know, I right, Jacob, Flipper fan. Dana Evans winning the unrivaled. Okay, cool. Yeah, dream on, buddy. Dream on. I'm just gonna say dream on. Dream on. US. Let's see. USC has a tough schedule. Played 3 of the top 10. Yes, they have. That's why I said what I said. I'm not expecting her to do too much more because she's in my number. Um, and she's also in that top three. When I said I have five, but I mainly have three. She's in that top three, and I'm curious to see what these other two are gonna do. So before I say who the five is, and then the top three of the five, you already know now that Jazzy is one of them. I want to see what those other four are gonna do because they can be kind of interchangeable. Jazzy is not interchangeable. She is it. She's in one of those. Before I can say that she is going to be my number one, I have to kind of see what these other two are going to do. And yes, they have played some of the top teams already. I love it. I love the fact that they've done that and she's shown her skill and how well she can be more poised and relaxed at such a young talent and young age at this moment in NCAA. Well, Blanca playing against the Big East. Have my ass up. She's gonna look better than she actually is. She might. She might, Jacob. She might. Hmm. She's talking about Goon. All right, Goon. Uh, Tulip. Tulip plays, and she's going into the Big Ten. Yeah, she is going to the Big Ten. I like it. I like it. I like it. I can't wait. I'm telling you, I'm excited. I'm excited once January starts because this here is going to start speaking volumes of teams too. And will the teams that are in the places they're in stay locked in the places that they are? I love change. I love challenge. I love rivalry. So let's see what happens. Aaliyah and yeah, yep, Tulip, absolutely. Jacob, yep, Big Ten and SEC are best conference. They are some of the top conference. Carolina whooping everybody ass in SEC. Okay, all I'm gonna say is we'll see. I'm not picking a team. I'm just gonna say we'll see. I'm gonna follow my team, which is LSU for sure. I'm gonna follow South Carolina because I love Dawn Staley and what she's done for the program for women's basketball. I'm gonna follow UConn. I'm gonna follow um, USC, and then I'm gonna follow TCU. Those are the teams that I'm following. Iowa State, they'll be somewhere off in there, but the teams I'm gonna follow, um, I'm looking to really see them play extremely well, or let's see what they can or can't do within the fact that they were able to diminish everybody else. So let's see. Tony, I think next year freshman class is better than this year's. Yes, I can attest to that. I'm with you on that, Tulip. A lot of talent coming into women's basketball. They are. Play Jazzy and PC went through stuff already, so has Blanca, but it's gonna get easier for her compared to the other two. Yeah, Big East is a one team conference. It is. South Carolina getting Jersey. Yes, I mean as I think she's gonna fit well. I mean, everybody that kind of go and play with Dawn, they do a great job. But Wally did a good job. I just think that for Wally wanted more time on the court. And sometimes you just some systems afford that and some systems don't. And it was her opportunity to be able to steal that time from others. But when you have a lot on your team that are just that good, things change. So play UConn fans thought the Big East was they thought it was competitive. We know they did. And some teams flip flopped. Some went from there and went to the Pac, and then others came to SEC. So zero comp. Yep, zero comp it is. Tony, what do you think of Loyola? Let's see, Lampy. Lola Lampy. Let's see. LSU freshman for next year. I like her. I like her a lot. I think that she's gonna be able to step in and do something right away. Although I know that they have the class that they have now, and those guys playing as well, she's gonna be able to come in and do some things for sure. I like her. I like her. Let's see if that's true. Let's see. Back what's that, Tony? Laser for Wale, the next MJ of the WNBA. Jersey, the next Alicia Thomas with the jumper. She could be. She's kind of a mean player right now in high school, so it's gonna be good to see what she does here in the W for sure. uh, People were going after USC fans because they got Jersey. I said we got Sata and Sata, two number one players. Like, leave us alone. Mm, I don't know why they're going after. I mean, a decision is made is a decision made. I have. Let's see. Have you seen Son Hollow? I have not. I have not. She's the number one prospect committed to USC. I've seen that she. I saw that she committed, but I haven't seen her hollow. I haven't. I'm a pull it up. Like a lot of the freshmen before they come in, I like to pull them up to see what they're like. Sometimes I'm working a lot of hours, and so those hours are just when I come in, um, I have to only do a couple at a time because I really dig uh, deep into the player to see exactly who I want to, I guess, cheer for. I cheer for them all because I want to see them all do well, but some you cheer for more than others. Some, depending on the program they go to, you have an opportunity to do more and see more. Trojans don't need Jersey, need a center. Hmm. Yeah, they do. They need a center. They really do. Instead, we got Burner. So you don't think Burner gonna make it work for you, Jacob? You mean Gerda? Yes, Gerda, not Burner, Gerda. Let's see. Yeah, she was the FIBA one night U19 World Cup MVP. I do know that, averaging 20 to a game and 20 in 24 minutes against 19-year-olds. She was 16. That's beast mode. That's beast mode now. And I know they did that in the FIBA Cup. So let's see what happens when you. I think that she's gonna fare well, but I still want to see what you do against all Americans, right? We know that when you go overseas, play is different and it's a lot tougher and it's a lot more challenging and competitive. But it's going to be interesting to see because sometimes, everybody's like, oh, I want to go to the U.S. I want to play America. I want to play for the U.S. of A., the United States of America, because they have the greatest basketball program in the world. Well, sometimes when you look at it, those other countries have the better program. Well, let's put it this way: they have the better athletes, right? And they make the program work for them to their advantage, which afford their players to come to the U.S. and play college ball. So, excuse me, this is going to be a problem next year. Yeah, it's going to be a problem with Juju for sure. Yes, I can attest to that. Jersey was DMV a lot of games in FIBA. Yeah. Okay. She's still nice. That she is. That she is. That she is. Can't wait to see. Well, on that note, it's been a great conversation, guys, and I appreciate you all coming in and rocking with me and hanging with me and staying tuned in. I know we had a couple that had to get up out of here, but I do appreciate you, Jacob, Tulip, Goon, ADP, everybody that came in the chat. I appreciate you all. Those that had to leave, I do understand. Hey, sometimes we got other channels we got to check out. Other people got to see. I believe in spreading the wealth, and some just got tired and gone to bed. Either way, I thank everybody for coming in and rocking with me and hanging out with me on my channel. And so we will do this again soon. Like how soon? Probably tomorrow. What time? To be continued. What time? To be continued. To be continued. But I really truly wanted to put this out on Coco Gauff, and just the passion for her likeness and the things that she's doing with tennis is now going to set the stage for other athletes moving forward that come into the sport. It's the same thing that Angel is doing. And I think as these young athletes come in and they start doing the things that they're doing and pave the way for others to not have to go through what they've gone through. I think it's always such a great thing. It's a beautiful thing, as a matter of fact. And then, just making headlines and making headways on that is something that we want to make sure that they do. And so putting them in the forefront on our panels is always something that I want to do. I'm a big advocate for female athletes and them being the best version of themselves and doing great, because sometimes you have more than none that will give up or feel that they're too good to sit on the bench until they can prove themselves, or vice versa. So, yeah. And then again, just having the respect of each other is always important. That's what we want. At least that's what I want to make sure that happens. So with that, guys, I'm going to go out and I am going to head out with a nice, cool, calming little beat before we get up out of here, because I like my beats. Thank you for coming and hanging out and rocking with me. It's been real. I love it. This was Tony's Courtside. This is, as Goon would call me, Courtside. But nevertheless, Court Vision. And talking about the facts is where we are. But thank you guys again. Appreciate you.